Here is another summary from Lawrence Gardner with my notes, additions about marriages, relationships of Lilith. Gardner is a noble Gnostic. His story could be promoting his beliefs. Gardner explains the hierarchy and interaction between the complex figures like Jehovah, Enki, Lilith, Enlil. Enki-Samael, being the brother of Enlil Jehovah, was referred to by medieval Cabalists as the other god, and his marriage to Lilith is said to have been arranged by Taninvar the blind dragon. Taninvar is an evil cosmic entity described in Kabbalistic writings, such as the Treatise on the Left Emanation and the Zohar. He is the steed of Lilith, so he is considered a mechanism by which evil is activated. In a version of the story, Lilith was the first of Samael's 4 wives, Lilith, Nama, Asheth, and Agrat-Bat-Mahat. The marriage of Samael and Lilith is known as the angel Satan or the other god, but it was not allowed to last. To prevent Lilith and Samael's demonic children Lilin from filling the world, God castrated Samael. In many 17th century Kabbalistic books, this seems to be a reinterpretation of an old, Talmudic myth where God castrated the male Leviathan and slew the female Leviathan in order to prevent them from mating and thereby destroying the earth with their offspring. With Lilith being unable to fornicate with Samael anymore, she sought to couple with men who experience nocturnal emissions. However, Lilith was not only the wife of Samael and the first consort of Adam, she was also said to have become Jehovah's partner after the fall of the Temple of Jerusalem when the Matronit, Ashoreth-Anat, was lost in earthly exile. Lilith, although holding the reins of the Malkut, the kingdom, was acting handmaiden to the Matronit, and Jehovah was perceived to be degraded by his new liaison. Citing the Book of Proverbs, 30:23, the Jewish Zohar chastises Jehovah for making the handmaid heiress to her mistress and asks, where is his honor? The king without the matronit is not called the king. That apart, the oldest records of Lilith come from ancient Sumer, and a terracotta relief from about 2000 BC shows her naked and winged, with the feet of an owl, standing upon 2 lions. Upon her head is the wrapped, multi-horned cap of the high-ranking Annunaki, and in each hand she holds the rod and ring of divinely measured justice. The rod of measure, or ruler, from which comes the authoritative term, and the ring of unity were important symbols of the deiform guardians, and because of these the eminent Semitic scholar Dr. Raphael Patai says of Lilith, evidently, this is no lowly she-demon, as portrayed by the later Hebrews, but a goddess who tames wild beasts. Indeed, Lilith was princess of the Netherworld and was featured, along with Inanna, Anith, in the Epic of Gilgamesh. In a sequence from Tablet 12, Lilith is said to have made her home within a halapu tree, probably a willow, says the translation, which belonged to her aunt and mistress Inanna. At base of the tree was the lair of a serpent, emblematic of Enki, and at the top was the nest of Zu the thunderbird. When the Adama, Adam, the earthling, was created by Enki and Ninkorsog, Lilith was appointed his consort, but she refused to submit to the wifely role and fled from Adam to become the bride of Enki himself. As previously stated, Enki, Samael and Lilith were jointly regarded, in the Talmudic tradition, as being the epitome of the tree of knowledge. In later times, Lilith was said to be incarnate as Abraham's Egyptian mistress Hagar, as Moses' Midianite wife Zipporah, and as King Solomon's most renowned lover, the Queen of Sheba. She then rose to become the queen consort of her grandfather, Enlil Jehovah. Like Anith, Isis, Kali and other goddess figures, Lilith was a paradox, being both spiritually dark and light black but beautiful. In the Ginza, the sacred book of the Gnostic Mandeans of Iraq, Lilith of the Netherworld is called Lilith Sariel, wife of Mandat-Hai, the king of light and gnosis, the knowledge of life. He was the equivalent of Iran's Ahura Mazda, the god of life and light, who was Enki to the Sumerians and Samael to the Hebrews. Whereas Mary Magdalene was the wife of Jesus and the mother of the sacred bloodline, the song Grail, from the 1st century, it was with Lilith that it all began, about 4,000 years before. In fact, that is not strictly true, for it began with Tiamat, queen of the Apsu, the underground waters, in primeval times, but Lilith was the senior heiress, which is why she was likened to a serpent or a dragon. In essence, the dragon and the serpent were synonymous, with the term dragon deriving from the Greek drakon, meaning serpent, while in Sumer the words usumgal, dragon, and mus usumgal, serpent, were metaphors of praise for a god or a king. The Annunaki hierarchs, Ningersu, Ninurta, and Ningishtsida were, for example, classified as great dragons. The joint legacy of the serpent and dragon was that of the prehistoric crocodile, the most sacred of all creatures, and the traditionally identified serpent should not be confused with the cold and venomous image conjured by the English word snake. The holy crocodile was Draco, the mighty dragon of kingship, whence were named the Pendragons, head dragons of the British Celtic kingdoms from the days of King Cymbeline of Camelot, the sacred kingdom of curved light, down to Cadwallader of Gwynedd, AD 654 to 664, whose dynasty introduced the famous red dragon of Wales.